So now we basically have learned all the tools that we need to evaluate our data. But you might still say, well, it's still not very user-friendly because I have a lot of free-floating windows. I need to use code and things like that. Yes, okay. So let me show you how to get around this. So basically, we have a functionality implemented in FAMOS that enables you to create your own user interfaces. And those user interfaces are called panels. Let me create one for you. New panel, and I will create this template. Basically, the panel again is just a white surface that we can now fill with small functionalities called widgets. You might have heard of widgets in the context of your smartphone or even your computer. It's basically the same thing. You have small items that have some functionality that you can move around this surface. For example, we can add a curve window. Now to find all these widgets, they are now again organized in the lower left part in the so-called widget library. This is again organized in categories. For example, some curve windows, and I can just use the standard curve window, add it in here. And since I do not want to create all the curve window again, I can just use the one that I have open. Simply hit Ctrl Z, move to the panel and hit Shift Option V. Then you can paste the curve window onto the panel. So I can now close this and I have it on my panel. It is still dynamic, so if I change the selection of the measurement, everything changes. Now you can add a lot more functionalities on the panel, and I will show you a pre-configured panel in a few seconds. So let me run a little quicker on how to add a few elements. I just want to give you an idea how easy it is to add elements. Of course, you need to put a little bit of effort to make it perfect, but the main build-up is very easy. So let me go over that a little quicker. For example, I can add a label up here as a heading that I can call evaluation. Opening up the properties, I can change the font of that. So I will make it big and also a little bigger, changing that. All right, now we have a heading. Probably you want to have a logo up here, so I can add an image like that. Go to the properties and load an image. I have my IMC logo here. Now I need to configure this a little bit. Size mode, I want to have zoom. I do not want to have a border and no background. So like that. Rearrange that a little bit. All right. And I also want to have a little bit of separation for this heading. So I go to the category of shapes and simply add a line to this and drag it all the way around. Okay, and now to make this even more interactive, I can add interactive widgets. For example, I can add a push button that I can now fill with the execution of my sequence that I wrote before for defiltering. And I can also add some edit boxes to change variables of the function and things like that. So I hope you already see where this is going to. If you put a little bit of effort in here, you can create very dynamic and very easy to use user interfaces. And to show you how this could look like, I already have one pre-made. So let me open that up for you real quick. Let me see, which one is it? This one. So here I have a panel that is basically using the same data as before. So we still have all those measurements with the 3 channels. at the first page, yes, even a panel can have multiple pages. On the first page, we have a page for viewing our data. So we can either quickly scroll through the data and check if everything looks reasonable, or we can even make comparisons by selecting more than one data set. Yeah, so this is what we have already learned. Now, if I move on to the next page, this is my evaluation page, where I have something that I try to build up real quick. So I have a curve window that shows my original data. I have some input fields where I can change parameters of the high-pass filter that I want to apply to this data. So let's use the same parameters as before, fourth order and 500 Hertz. And then I can simply hit this push button and the filtered data set gets generated. Then, if you remember, I told you about the sequence function that that does a whole evaluation by calculating FFT spectra and looking for the 3 largest data points of the filtered spectrum, and so on and so on. All these functionalities I have now implemented in a simple button. So just hit on this button and it will run exactly this evaluation. So I have the FFT spectra with the 3 largest frequencies, and I also have them in a table representation in here. Okay, then I can switch to my report page. So this is some topic that we haven't talked about yet, but usually at the end of all this evaluation process, there is some kind of reporting to do. Yeah, either for your client, for your boss, or just for the archive. And typically, or often, those reports are done in third-party programs. So you have a data analysis program where you create your curves and your results, and then you transfer them to a separate program where you make your reports. This is not necessary with FAMOS. You can do your reports right inside of FAMOS by using the panel pages that are exactly set up for using A4 format. However, those panel pages are still completely dynamic. Yeah, so you can see this is A4 format. Let me zoom in here a little bit so you can see it better. Yeah, we still have a total dynamic curve window, so I can still go in here and zoom, I can add markers, I can change colors, and all the things I showed you before. I have a list for my frequencies, and I have the results down here. If I change the measurement selection, you can see the results have not been calculated yet, because yeah, I didn't calculate them yet on the page before. But for this one I did, and once I'm ready with my report, maybe zoom out here a little bit, I can simply go right-click, export page, and export as PDF. And then I can simply save it to the desktop and move on to the next evaluation. Yeah, so like this, you can very easily create PDF exports directly from the software. I did it manually right now. You can, of course, also automate this.